How else could he live? You know, I mean, he has to be breathing air. So if we have a live beetle, that means we don't have 4,000-year-old air. Whatever the results are, bad or good, if they're scientific, that's what we tried to do. We tried to find out. And we did find out there's something living down there.
After taking samples of the air and after looking at it, we know that we have not disturbed the site at all. So this is kind of starting a whole new, opening a whole new door to technology, and I personally believe that this might be a new change to the archaeological exploration, very much like what age dating did to archaeology earlier in this century.
Okay.
Age dating propelled archaeology from a collector's pastime into a more exact science. Video exploration promises to extend its reach into realms that have always seemed impenetrable. Until now. And for now, at least, there are no plans to restore the Pharaoh's second ship. Soon the camera will be withdrawn, the hole in the stone resealed. Instead of seeing the vessel in all her original glory, visitors will have to imagine what it might have looked like, bearing the Pharaoh down the Nile, or even perhaps through the afterlife, in his relentless pursuit of the sun.
Well, I hope that this gave you a feeling of the excitement that we all felt during the exploration. And I wanted to just say at the end of this that what we really intended to do was to provide an example of the utility of high technology in the investigations that deal with archaeology. Remote sensing applications are vast and numerous. We know them in geology, and we know them in geography, and we know them in many other fields. And we just began here to say that remote sensing does have applications in the science of archaeology. Thank you very much.
We do have a few minutes for questions, if you'd like to ask questions, or you're free to leave. But those of you who would like to ask questions, the floor is now open.
I hate to start with a non-technical question, but do we know who it was that was supposed to assemble the boat kit in the afterlife?
No, there was really no knowledge of that, but most likely it would be the people that would be would have surrounded or had continued from the cult of Khufu. Khufu, the builder of or Cheops, the builder of the Great Pyramid, had an enormous following in Egypt. Even to this day, there is some esteem that's attached to his name. He must have been a fantastic leader of his time, very much like Ramses. And so that they would assume that as the Pharaoh gets up in the afterlife, and they really believed in afterlife, then there were the people that would be surrounding his burial place would come up and put this boat together and for him to use. If it is really for him to use in the afterlife, if it is not symbolic for him to follow the sun god in the sky. Yes?
There's speculation that that second chamber was indeed hermetic until 1954 when operations on the first might have broken.
We don't really know. The limestone that these both pits are carved is porous. So we believe that there will be enough passage of gases through the limestone itself. That's number one. Number two is that we are not really certain that the first one was hermetically sealed. We have this hearsay about the archaeologist that was there that he said, I smell cedar. And the third item is that it could have been sealed, but we know that there are so many earthquakes that happened since then. So some of that sealing that the ancient Egyptians had put may have fallen through. So we're not really certain what it is, but we know for sure that even if it was sealed, the activity of building the museum and the cement mixer and the brick making machine were right on top of this second pit. There was no other space to put it. And it would have broken the seal just because of that.
Has there been an attempt to reseal them against beetles, air?
Yes, one of the things that we would like to do now is we have kept the situation as it is. And we're now discussing it with the archaeology, with the Egyptian Antiquities Organization to reseal it completely with gypsum mortar, exactly the same way Egyptians did, the ancients. Insert clean air and remove all of the air inside and insert clean air after perhaps a little bit of insecticide removal and maybe killing the bacteria and things like this if we know how. And then keeping the monitors inside, including a video system. And we'd have perhaps a video machine in the museum for tourists to get in one at a time and with an arm to move the video camera inside to see the way the ancient Egyptians had left that second boat intact, the way it is, and charge them $5, $10, whatever, to pay for the operation.
Have the isotopic analysis been completed? And if so, does the carbon ratio in atmospheric CO2 within the chamber correspond to that in the limestone and the calcium carbonate?
That has not really been completed. The interpretation of what we have now from the amount only of the limestone and the age dating with the tandem accelerator by Donahue say that he believes that the carbon dioxide inside is just about half and half of modern carbon dioxide and some old carbon dioxide, no indication whether it is driven off the limestone or the organics inside from the isotopes. Sorry. The one thing that we really learned is this business about the constant humidity percent. And the system inside, the environmental system inside the museum where the first boat is housed, it just has an air conditioner, so it does not really worry about the humidity that much and actually dries the environment inside a great deal. So the one thing that we're saying now is that we should look into a system so that the museum where the boat is would be sealed and that the humidity percent would be kept constant no matter what the temperature is. Not naturally not too high, but no matter what the temperature is. Yes, keeping them alive is okay because there is quite a bit of oxygen still, even though there is an enormous amount of hydrogen depletion, but there is oxygen. And the way it got there, it could have been any one of the holes. If you see the picture that showed the actually cracks between the blocks or the spaces between the blocks where water had gone through, any one of these could have been worked by insects to get through. And actually, had the reason for sealing the pit the way the ancient Egyptians did it, you would think about why would they have been trying to seal it completely like that. And it really must be to save the wood from two things. Rainwater, because every once in a while it rains in this part of the world, maybe every 20 years or something on the Giza Plateau, but it does rain. And the second is to keep insects out, because naturally if you have a lot of wood and one termite makes it through, I mean, you'll have no more wood. So that they wanted to keep insects out, and particularly termites. That particular beetle is a desert beetle of modern times, and it could have gone right through from any one of these holes.
Get back to the first boat. Do you feel that it is responsible to the museum that is further contributed?
Yes, this is at least we're saying this now based on the amount of information that has come in to this day. Several of the things that we couldn't do because of the limitations that we placed on ourselves during this whole investigation is that, for instance, we didn't get that close to the wood. We didn't suck out air from right on top of the wood. We did not try to blot the surface of the wood to get a sample of the bacteria, or get a sample, a micro drill, and get a sample of the wood. There are all kinds of things that we could do now that we know the condition, what it is. But we placed certain limitations and specifications on our own investigation, and that also limited the amount of information that we get. But we really believe that this must be one of the most important elements about keeping the environment, keeping the wood, is that environment. Within the environment is the humidity percent.
Yeah, you said the first change was pretty much done by accident. I was wondering, what's the state of the art as far as remote sensing technologies with regard to non-accident
Yes,
things like that?
this is very good, yeah. Very much so. And as a matter of fact, we've already began this, and the Egyptian Antiquities Organization had one, not a ground penetrating radar, but an electromagnetic sounder from a group of Japanese investigators, and they just began to do this even around the area of the Sphinx, which you believe that it had been investigated thoroughly. But there are 3 chambers somewhere around the one on the right side and 2 on the left side of the Sphinx itself that nobody had known anything about them, and we're now thinking about how does the Egyptian Antiquities Organization begin to investigate these 2. So there is, you can just scan the region and figure out by these kinds of technology to figure out whether there are other things there. Not the gravity. The gravity didn't work that well in this region. The one thing that worked rather well in Egypt, particularly in the Valley of the Kings, is the magnetics. Yeah, the magnetometer worked very well, and located a tomb that had been found early in the 19th century and then covered up by rubble and then rediscovered by the magnetometer.
Might also mention your work in discovering ancient riverbeds too.
This is the imaging radar. This is a different. Yes, we did have an imaging radar on the space shuttle twice. And one of the things that we found out, and it was quite by surprise, is the fact that the radar rays penetrated through the sand cover in the Western Desert in Egypt, because that sand is exceedingly dry, and actually gave us a view of the first solid layer of rock beneath the sand down to more than 16 feet of sand, and we could see the courses of former rivers in that place.
Okay. If there are no more questions then, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.